Time to get off the beaten track now and going bush, Nick, and we're looking at a community agreement between Forestry Tasmania and four-wheel drivers.
Now, in the past, Andrew, four-wheel drivers have had a bit of a dubious reputation, but this new agreement is aiming to address some of those concerns.
It's the image of four-wheel drivers tearing up the bush and trashing the roads that this partnership is helping to address. In an Australian first, management responsibility for 9 forestry tracks has been given to Four-Wheel Drive Tasmania in return for sustained access to the area.
What promoted this into occurring was the fact that four-wheel drivers lost the use of an iconic area at Southport Lagoon, and on the back of that there was much hoo-ha, and four-wheel drivers said we need somewhere of a similar ilk to go and recreate. So I approached Forestry Tasmania because the other instrumentalities that were concerned with accommodating us seemed unable to get their head around what it was we were requiring, and Forestry Tasmania greeted us with open arms.
It was a bit of a gamble, I've got to say, you know, because we weren't sure which way it'd go. But I've got to say that, like everything in our community, you get small groups of people create the issues, but there's a large group of people out there that do a really good job, and what we've seen today and through this program is fairly typical of that.
And while entry to state forests is free to all and usually unrestricted, getting to those more challenging sections of old, disused track is the real benefit to serious off-roaders.
Some of the tracks are not as accessible for conventional vehicles as others, and they're probably older tracks that now are not used regularly that are suitable for four-wheel driving. Some of them are rougher than others, which some of our members enjoy. So it's roads that are not normally accessed by the general public.
This particular community agreement is a win-win for both sides, Nick. Not only do the four-wheel drivers have a place to go on four-wheel drive, they actually take responsibility for the tracks, which includes cleaning them up.
Management, the issue of rubbish in state forests is a pretty significant one. Seems that as soon as local councils put up their tip fees, a vast amount of rubbish ends up in the bush.
It's disgusting, dirty.
Every 6 months or so, the four-wheel drivers tow their trailers into the forest for the thankless task of lugging out tonnes of illegally dumped waste. But just being out in the bush can help deter other, potentially more serious crimes.
Big area, like down here we've got 123,000 hectares, and vandalism happens. These fellas are out there when we might have arsonists about. They're good for intelligence from that point of view as well. So we skin a lot of cats with this program.
The tracks around the Huon area here, Nick, range from something that you could drive the family car on to some very challenging four-wheel driving.
There certainly are, Hardy. 120 or so kilometres here, but it's not just four-wheel drive groups who are benefiting from these community agreements.
So far, fishing, horse riding and mountain bike clubs have struck shared responsibility agreements, and their members are enjoying the greater access that goes along with them, and in return committing to protect the forest environment.
We're governed by a Forest Practices Code and other environmental legislation, so to sanction any action on the state forest we need to be happy that those actions are within those guidelines.
Go out and enjoy your four-wheel drive without trashing the forest, without trashing the tracks, without bogging the tracks up, and use them in a responsible way and enjoy them.
The partnership agreement between FT and Four-Wheel Drive Tasmania is an Australian first. Clubs manage and maintain the tracks in return for sustained access, and other organisations that use state forests are encouraged to strike similar arrangements.
So if you are one of the many people that uses our state forest for recreation, a community partnership might just be the way to go.
Yes, indeed. Now, that's all we've got time for in today's show, but we've got more going bush next week. Here's a look at what's coming up. We meet the world's biggest freshwater invertebrate and chart its journey back from the brink.
Look at some of the ways to spend or save $1 in our forests, and when wood becomes art, the world of special species timber. That's next time on Going Bush.